There are 7 principles of human behaviour that predict how people tend to respond in most situations. The first principle is people need to be free. People need to feel that they have a choice over the things that they do. And this desire to choose starts when we're very young. If you think about a 2-year-old and their favourite word is no, and as they develop into teenagers, this need to rebel seems very firmly rooted. Try telling a teenager to tidy their room and you can be pretty sure it won't get tidied. And that's because you've taken away their perception of control and made them feel helpless. So adults too need to feel that they're in control, that they have a choice. So as a manager, rather than issuing orders, try phrasing it as a request. Rather than saying, get this report done, try saying, I'd like you to write this report. Can you have it to me by 5 p.m? People realise that it's their manager's job to give them instructions, but by phrasing it as a request, you're giving them a perception of choice. And if they choose to do something, they're much more likely to finish it, and they're much more likely to be happy about it. Principle number 2, people are responsible for their own behaviour. How people respond in any situation is ultimately their decision. How often have you heard somebody say, he made me really angry, or look what you made me do? But the truth is we can't make people respond in any particular way because it's ultimately always their decision. So as a manager, you're not responsible for the behaviour of other people. It's your job to administer consequences for the behaviour that they choose. So if a member of staff chooses to behave badly, you haven't failed as a manager. You're only failing as a manager if you then don't administer the appropriate consequences. Principle number 3, there are consequences for all behaviour. Whatever we do, there will always be consequences. If we do a favour for someone, they'll be pleased and will thank us. And if we criticise their appearance, they'll be unhappy and may shout at us. Sometimes the consequences aren't immediately obvious because people don't always respond immediately, but our behaviour will have had an impact on them. Some people are less aware of the impact of their behaviour, and it's the manager's job to help raise their level of self-awareness. In terms of performance management, if somebody does a good job, you'll be pleased and will praise them. And if they do a bad job, you'll be unhappy and will give them feedback for improvement. Principle number 4, people need to know what behaviour is expected of them. If people don't understand what you want them to do, there's a chance that they'll put a lot of time and effort into doing the wrong thing. If your instructions are unclear or non-existent, they may feel that they can't ask for clarification out of fear of looking stupid. So set people up for success by making sure that they're really clear about what you want them to do. Clearly define the goal or standard of behaviour required. In the words of the famous New York Yankees baseball player Yogi Berra, if you don't know where you're going, you'll end up someplace else. So make it easy for your people to end up in the right place. Principle number 5, people need to know how they're doing. Giving regular feedback, positive and constructive, reinforces the behaviour you want and lets people know that they're on the right path. Let's take the example of a little boy playing with his toys. If he's naughty and starts throwing his toys around, then his mother gives him instant feedback and tells him off. If, however, he's good and just sits there quietly playing with his toys, she may be tempted to get on with other chores around the house and ignore him, effectively punishing him for good behaviour. If she were to take the time to occasionally praise him for playing quietly, it would reinforce that this is the behaviour that she wants and give him the attention that he deserves. Adults too crave attention, and attention from the manager is particularly desirable. It's easy, however, to forget the good, dependable employee who just gets on with their job. But if people are ignored, then at best they're not sure whether they're on the right path, and at worst they may try and do something bad just to get attention, because for most people negative attention is better than no attention at all. So make sure you give regular feedback and attention to everybody, to the good and the bad performers. We don't want people throwing their toys around just to get attention. Principle number 6, people will not destroy what they've created themselves. Do you remember at school making something, a stitched pencil case or a clay pot? And we keep these things for a long time. It feels wrong to just throw them away because we put so much effort into making it. The principle is the same at work. People who put a lot of effort into something are more likely to stick with it. So when problem solving, make sure you involve people in finding the solution. They'll then be much more likely to work hard to make the solution work. Principle number 7, our behaviour influences other people's behaviour. If you have a negative attitude to something, it sends the message that other people should also see the situation as negative. If you tell people that a change you're implementing is going to be awful and difficult, then of course they'll see the change as awful and difficult. So choose your attitude carefully to influence how other people interpret the situation.